we will need something bipartisan to pass with 60 votes. We can do it. Earlier this year, Senator Kaine and I introduced 2 bipartisan bills. The Helping Young Americans Save for Retirement Act.
That was Senator Bill Cassidy talking about Social Security, which he hasn't done, I think, for over a year, at least not publicly. So this was actually that speech. I'm going to play you the full speech in this video later on. That was actually part of Bernie Sanders' hearings. If you didn't catch Bernie Sanders' speech, you're not going to want to miss it. It's the previous video, but watch that one after this one, because Bill Cassidy actually goes after Bernie Sanders, and you're going to hear Bill Cassidy's rebuttal and also Bill Cassidy's big idea to save Social Security. So he has the SSI Savings Penalty Elimination Act. So that is Bill Cassidy's Social Security bill of how he wants to save Social Security, change it, prevent it from having the 24% cuts coming up in the future. So you're not going to want to miss what Bill Cassidy has to say. It's not as fiery and passionate as Bernie Sanders' speech, but he does bring up some really good points. So stay tuned for that. Before I dive into the main content, if you appreciate these Social Security updates, hit the like button down below and subscribe to the channel for more Social Security updates. And this video is sponsored by my company, WiseCent. If you or anyone you know is looking to increase your credit score, got my details down in the description below. So Bill Cassidy proposes big idea to save Social Security. So he outlined his big idea to save all Americans from a 23% cut in Social Security benefits in the next 8 years. In a news release, Cassidy claims the SSI Savings Penalty Elimination Act updates SSI's asset limits for the first time since the 1980s, and the update helps disabled and elderly Americans prepare for financial emergencies without risking their benefits. Now, this is really important. He said addressing this problem should be a no-brainer. Now, this only affects SSI. I think this is a really important bill, and I think this could help a lot of people. But if you look at Social Security as a whole, I think there should be a broader, more robust plan for Social Security from Bill Cassidy, especially since he's pretty much the #1 person talking about Social Security from the GOP side. He said this: in about 8 years, the only thing that will be going out is a 23% cut in benefits to those currently receiving and all future Social Security beneficiaries. What are we as Americans going to do about it? Well, I'm going to share with you exactly what Bill Cassidy plans to do about it in this speech right here. So this was from the hearing from Bernie Sanders. And Bernie Sanders spoke first, and now it is Bill Cassidy's turn. Again, if you want to catch Bernie Sanders' video, I'll link to that right after this. Take a look at Bill Cassidy.
That's where we are. We got a crisis. I think we have some common sense solutions, and I look forward to working with members of this committee to address them. Senator Cassidy, Mike is yours.
Thank you, Chair Sanders. A little odd. The focus today seems to be promoting the defined benefits system, prescribing an agenda, frankly, that is outdated and little disconnected. In 1974, Congress passed the Employment Retirement Income Security Act, the ERISA Act, in response to tens of thousands of Americans losing their retirement security because their employer's defined benefit system failed. Exemplified by the collapse of Studebaker Automobile Company and about 1,800 other pension plans terminating over a 4-year period, imagine the impact upon those hundreds of thousands of workers who were employed by them. Since ERISA, the defined benefit system has been largely replaced by the defined contribution, which has flourished. As of 2021, 146 million Americans collectively own $9.5 trillion in retirement assets. Now, the advantage of the defined contribution system, why many have flocked to it, is that workers own their own retirement system. No matter what happens to the worker's current or previous employer, their retirement funds are secure. Very few people now retire after 50 years at a company and get a golden watch. Most will move between employers. This allows them to do so while maintaining their retirement fund. Importantly, Congress just passed Secure Act 2.0 on a bipartisan basis, making improvements to our nation's retirement system. We had the option to take the one such as the chair is advocating for, and on a bipartisan basis chose not to. Instead, based the solution primarily on the success of the defined contribution system. Secure 2.0 was so popular, it passed out of all 4 committees of jurisdiction with unanimous votes And on the House floor, can you imagine this, by a vote of 414 to 5. The chair speaks of needing to find a solution to a crisis, but we have that solution. By the way, there are still provisions of Secure Act 2.0 that have yet to be implemented, including those helping low-income individuals. For example, the Enhanced Savers Match, a tax credit going right into low-income Americans' retirement accounts, which goes into effect in 2027. The chair has referenced statistics pointing to a retirement crisis, but many of these are from 2021, which predate the passage of Secure 2.0, the improvements it has made, and the improvements that it will make, especially those targeting lower-income Americans. Now, by the way, there is a place for defined benefit systems. With reforms, it can be successful. In 2006, we passed these needed reforms, which resulted in some of those funds now being overfunded, even weathering the 2009 financial crisis. However, these reforms have not been implemented in the largely union-utilized multi-employer defined benefit space. Many of these multi-employer defined benefit plans have struggled for years when in 2021 they told Congress they needed a bailout. Many of the plans were badly mismanaged. Democrats passed a $90 billion bailout of the multi-employer defined benefit system on a party line vote without strings on the tax dollars to prevent, strings that would say you have to make these reforms to prevent future failures. Now, this lack of reform system is that which some wish us to expand. Unfortunately, the large labor union successfully lobbied to make sure the bailout did not come with any meaningful reforms protecting workers and preventing future failure. Simple reforms, like requiring certain funding levels, disclosures for defined benefit plans, requiring unions to provide beneficiaries with a clear report of their defined benefit program's financial state. Now we're seeing the results of the failure to enact these provisions. The Central States Pension Fund received $127 million overpayment in their bailout because they included thousands of deceased participants in their bailout application. Let me give credit where credit is due. Teamster President Sean O'Brien told this committee the money should be repaid. However, the Central State Pension Fund now tells the committee it would be impossible for them to repay the money that they were improperly paid. Workers covered by the Central State should be alarmed about the financial state of their retirement plan if returning money they weren't supposed to receive would destabilize the fund now. Frankly, it's infuriating to hear that the union's pension plan could be on the verge of collapse only a few years after they received tens of billions of dollars to bail. If the chair truly wishes to expand the use of defined benefit plans, I am so happy to discuss reforms similar to the ones that have been very successful in the individual employer space and pass them to stabilize the entire defined benefit system. But we'll have to overcome staunch union opposition to any reform that provides greater oversight and protection for their workers. Together, though, I think we could do it. To be clear, Republicans do not support putting the thumb on the scale to prefer either defined benefit or defined contribution. We support what works. Most businesses with individual employer defined benefit plans wish to continue to offer and expand their programs. If it's working, don't fix it. We're seeing the good work of companies who are importing the best of defined benefit system into the defined contribution, including many innovative lifetime income products. I agree with the chair that lifetime income is desired by many Americans. Let's make it easier for the defined contribution to include them. There are things we can do on a bipartisan basis, which is why it was disappointing that rather working together to hold a bipartisan hearing, the majority planned this hearing on a partisan basis with no input from the minority on scope or legislative focus. We will need something bipartisan to pass with 60 votes. We can do it. Earlier this year, Senator Kaine and I introduced two bipartisan bills. The Helping Young Americans Save for Retirement Act makes it easier for younger workers between the ages of 18 and 20 to save for retirement by removing barriers currently making it harder to join an employer's retirement plan. The Auto Enroll Act of 2023 assists workers who previously declined to participate or contributed little to the employer's pension plan. Many workers earlier in their career make less money. They want the money in their paycheck to pay for bills as opposed to contributing to retirement. But when their wages grow, we find they forget to opt back in to start contributing to their retirement. This legislation allows a business to periodically auto-enroll employees back into their plans with the option to opt out, but that way they don't accidentally miss out on crucial years preparing for retirement. I hope the Chair will indulge us with a markup of these bipartisan pieces of legislation. In closing, many other members of this committee had wonderful ideas that were included in the Secure 2.0. It would be great to explore the current effectiveness of these provisions and discuss any other creative ideas that enhance the system we have. Thank you, and I yield.
What are your thoughts on what Senator Bill Cassidy has to say? So it seems like Bill Cassidy wants to just prevent Social Security from becoming insolvent through a few different ways, which I think is good. But compared to other people who have shared videos on in Congress, Bill Cassidy is not really for the expansion or increase in benefits. He's more just about keeping it as is, but solvent, so it doesn't get cut in 8 or 9 years. So anyways, that's his perspective. Let me know your thoughts. What is your perspective on that? Let us know down in the comments below. And that is all the news that I have for you today to hopefully cheer you up a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, this is Belle's tip of the day, and what I want to tell you is always stay happy. Always be glad for your family, because your family is the ones who made you and made you. So everybody, hope you have a good July 4th. Bye! Now?
If you want to see the fiery speech from Bernie Sanders, you're not going to want to miss this video right up here as I share with you the full speech of what he talks about with the retirement crisis, how he wants to have an increase of $200 per month or $2,400 per year. So you're not going to want to miss that video. So click that video now and I'll see you in that video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.